Hello everyone, welcome to Roman Just Codes. I'm Roman. This is live coding after hours, developing Angular PWAs. So for the duration of 1 hour in this season, this is season 1, episode 6. I'm gonna be continuing and building up on the previous episodes where I've been developing a full-blown Angular PWA using, again, Angular 11, using a bunch of technologies, of course using the best practices in Angular, HTML, JavaScript, CSS, TypeScript, of course. But I'm gonna be integrating into this application in upcoming episodes. I'll be adding Firebase authentication. I'll be adding Firebase hosting. I'll be even see if I can introduce like Firebase cloud messaging, some aspects of Firebase real-time database and Cloud Firestore. So you're definitely gonna have a lot of fun doing this. So if you just joined, let me show you exactly the application that I'm talking about. So this is the application that we've been building. This application is called Torsi. Already exists in the App Store because I developed it using Flutter. So I developed it as a cross-platform native application using Flutter for Android and iOS. Now I'm porting it over to Angular, so I can prove that you can build these type of applications using web technologies, using Angular 11, using PWA approaches, progressive web apps, making it as a progressive web app, tapping into the same API that the native application, and you can make this for, like, again, for it's kind of like a write once, run anywhere type of approach that I'm following. So I'll just create it like this. I'll make sure that I'm actually doing it mobile first. Also, then I'm gonna make some tweaks so that it could also serve well for a tablet or for desktops, and you can view it anywhere using web technologies. So again, without further ado, this is the application. It's called Torsi. Torsi is I developed it myself. I authored it. So this is an application that is a handpicked list of the best touristic attractions in the Dominican Republic. I may be biased towards some of them, but I even created the app itself. I created the application itself, and this is just, again, like I said, a created list of touristic attractions in the DR. If you decide to visit the Dominican Republic, then you will see, like, for example, like by the top rated attractions by region. We chart the best ones by region, by activity, what things you can do by activity. So you can see here right away. So there's like a main page where you will see like the list of attractions. I have like 4 tabs here where they show you all the functionality, and kind of like they filter out by those types of categories. This is the map page. This is what we're going to be doing today. So we're going to be tackling the map view. So we're going to be developing using the Google Maps API. We're going to be using the Google Maps on an Angular PWA and showing the map with those custom pins and whatnot. So this is today's episode, season 1, episode 6. We're dealing with the map. In previous episodes, again, we tackled like the splash screen, the list page, the details page. In upcoming episodes, then we will be doing like the profile. I'll show you the favorites page. I actually developed it offline just so that, because we already had created some of the main pieces of that feature, I just decided to just code through that real quick and spare you the boring, the boring coding of that piece. So I created that myself offline, so I can show. I'll show you right now. Now we're going to be building up on the map. So we're going to be using the Google Maps API. I have my own API key, and then we'll use that to display the map and all those pins. Each one of these locations has like a little each one of those attractions has a location associated with it. I also added that piece in the back end. So now when I get it from the API, I get the lat and the long for each one of those locations. So let me show you what we've built so far. So for those of you who just joined, again, this is the application that we've built so far until episode 6, which is today. You see here that as soon as you come in, let's say, for example, like, so if you're by region or you do top rated, like, they already come up. So you have like the list of all your attractions, like the top rated attractions. You can click on the tab called by region. And you see these ones don't have the little heart because these actually they give you like another page where you see more attractions. So it's kind of like a grouping, this kind of approach. So maybe I could make a distinction on this. For now, I made it that if you have the little heart right here, that means you can favorite it. So you can just like say click on that, and then by that you just make it favorite right away. We're using some strategies for maintaining state in the application using RxJS behavior subjects and subjects, using observables to subscribe to those behavior subjects and then propagate those changes throughout the application. I'll show you that in a minute. But if you look at if you check out the previous episodes, you definitely see exactly that I built for this. So I can select other things. But check this out. If I go either by region or by activity, if I click on by region and I click on one region, let's say center of the island. If you click there, then you get another like breaking down into the list of attractions under the center of the island. That way I can select one of those attractions. And then you can do the same thing. You can select, and then that's it. Let's say you can go back. You can click on this little arrow, and then you can go back to the previous page. If then, let's say if you go by activity, you do the same thing. I want to do like some sightseeing attractions. Let me check those out. If you select that grouping, you get you see like I've already favored that piece there, and then I can do like there's like pyramids in there. I have like a few selected already. Awesome. I can go back out, and then I can even click on this hamburger menu, which shows me my favorites, and check this out. It already shows that I favorited 4 attractions throughout my my perusing the application and navigating throughout the application. If you click on my favorites, I direct you to a page where you see then those attractions that you marked as favorite. And then that's cool that you can just come over here and take a look at the ones that you've, let's say you're navigating around and then you tap on those little hearts, then you will, that's all persisted in memory. That's what we're going to be implementing later on in upcoming episodes, where we're going to be sending that over to Firebase to store it for that logged in user. So let's say if let's say I can even unfavorite it from here. I can just uncheck it, and there you go, it's just gone. Then I click that, it's all gone. Now if I click on the last one, boom, I get presented with this saying you don't have any favorites added. So see, like I'm also making it not only very fast and very responsive, but also user friendly and very intuitive. So that way you can just come back over, go to main, and then you can even start all over the process. Sorry about that. And then you can maintain like how which ones your favorites are. In today's episode, we're going to be doing the map view. So I just want to go over a few of the things that I made changes offline, like again, how we're fetching the information, how like a couple of the components that I created. So I'm just going to go over real quick, and then immediately we're diving right into the map. Okay, so let me just make sure that, for example, here, if I go to the app components, you see that header is the regular component, but I created like something called like a subheader. So the subheader actually takes a couple of inputs. It will take a title, an icon, and a subtitle. This is what I'm using here in my region. If I click on the region, I show that header right there. You see that subheader that says by region, center of the island. One is the title, one is the subtitle. And then I pass the icon, whether it's like the arrow, or for example, in the case of my favorites, you see this is exactly the same subheader that I'm using, but I'm only passing one title. And then I'm passing the icon of the little heart. That's it. So I created that component to make it reusable throughout my application and make it very flexible. So we have a header, and then we have the subheader. We're gonna make some tweaks in there later, but at least you will see just what it's made of. It's very simple structure. Just has like a header tag, has a couple of span tags. This one, for example, like depending on what type of icon it is, then it's clickable or not. That's the thing that I want to optimize, because I may want to add maybe the capability of being like the subheader allows you to go back into the previous page. Right now I'm saying, oh, if the icon is the arrow back, then you can click. Otherwise, any other icon is not clickable, or it doesn't help you navigate to like to the previous page. So for now, let's keep it like that so I can just show you. Another thing that I did was improve on the way that I'm making the calls. So I don't know if you guys are familiar. If I, for example, like how to actually make those API calls so that they're concurrent. I made a provision here. I made a change using the fork join. Fork join is available as part of the RxJS. I'm not even using this one right here, so I'll remove it. So the fork join, what it allows you, if you guys are familiar with promises in JavaScript, so promises represent an object that is an object that represents an action to be executed in the future. And then let's say you bind to that promise, and then that promise then when you tack on, for example, like events like then, catch, and done, like for example, like you can actually like daisy chain calls. In this particular case, the promise will notify you, let's say when that done is called, let's say an AJAX call, you're doing an HTTP RESTful API call. And then when you wrap it inside a promise, the promise then will let you know, okay, I'll make the HTTP call on your behalf. You wrap the promise around that, and then the HTTP will say, okay, once I'm done, I'll notify you. I'll let you know. I promise I'll let you know when the call is made. That's exactly the way that we refactored it here. So let me show you pretty much what we did. So we have three main calls: get attractions by activity. We have get attractions, and then we get top attractions. So the API calls, what I did, I surrounded it by an observable. Then an observable, when the HTTP arrives, will notify whoever is subscribed to this, to the call, to the get all attractions API. And then I don't need to even send anything down the pipe. I just need to notify someone. I'll mark it as complete. I notify that the information is here, and then I complete. I did the same thing for the get attractions by activity API. I surrounded the HTTP call with an observable. The observable, again, whoever subscribes to this will be notified, and then I complete, kind of like closing the pipe and say, I'm done. Here it is. I'm done with the call. See, I've already persisted it in my behavior subject by maintaining the state of the application. Like I've collected all the activities. I save it in memory, like maintaining state. Then I let you know when I'm done. Same thing with the top attractions. Wrap it in an observable. Wrap the HTTP call, mark it complete, and then that's it. So now how do I make it so that all these three calls are done up front? So I don't have to wait, like I click on one tab, then I make the call. I click on another tab, then I make the call. I'd rather make them all at once. You could follow your own strategy. In this particular case, I just wanted to prove the point also that for small calls like that, like are not that frequent, and then I need all the information to be up front. You can even make the compromise of making them all at the same time by using fork join. So fork join is one of those provisions in the RxJS that allows you to call multiple, subscribe to multiple observables or multiple, let's say APIs that will notify you when they're done. And then these are three, APIs that I make. Once all of them have notified me that they're done, then I proceed. So I made all the three calls. Let's say this one arrives first. It just waits. Then the next one arrives. One is still ready to arrive. Then when the last one arrives, now then whoever is subscribed to the get all data then will be notified. Okay, the three calls are made. Now proceed to do whatever you want to do. So then I just notify whoever is subscribed, and then I complete. Who's subscribed to get all data? Fetch initial data. So fetch initial data is just one call that I make, so that I'll just subscribe when all the three when all the three API calls are done that return an observable and notify me. Then I proceed to notify, okay, I'm done with the three calls. Do whatever you want. Here is what I want to do, like maybe some loading. I want to do some like spinning indicator saying like, wait, I'm making three calls at the same time. Once the three of them are done, then I'll let you know, and then I can hide, let's say, the spinning wheel or something. So that's one of the improvements that I made. I was pretty cool with that. And also remember that in the main page, when we were making these three were independent pages. Top rated was a separate page. By region was a separate page. By activity was a separate page. Now these three are a single page. I deleted all the other ones, and then I just made one called attractions page. Then attractions page is just that, because the three of them shared the same functionality. They were just showing me a list of tiles, and whenever you tap on them, they would go to the details page. So what I'm doing in the call is just I created two APIs in the services. One method called get attraction list by type, so I know that I get the behavior subject method, so that I can subscribe to it depending on which tab I've clicked. If I clicked on the top rated tab, then I grab the get top attractions, I subscribe to it, and then I make the API call, or I just make the call. But the API, because it already makes it ahead of time, and I make it into a behavior subject, because the behavior subjects, whoever subscribed to the behavior subject receives the latest value that was already fetched, that is already in memory. So it just broadcasts it right to you. let's say I just joined, but the call was made like a couple of seconds ago, I still received that last value. So that's how I made it like that. If I click on the by region, then I can do the get all then I get the all attractions, which again, you see, I return that behavior subject as an observable. And the same thing with, let's say, the get attractions by activity, I get that same guy. And then now I was making this, but I don't think I need this anymore. I was like call attractions API by type. Like, okay, after I subscribe, then I was firing the call, but I don't need that anymore. I'm making that up front. The get the fetch all data now is being done at the beginning in the app component. I just say fetch initial data. You see the spinning going on, like the splash screen. I can even make the splash screen so that it just moves away after all the calls have been made. Those are, again, a couple of improvements that I'm suggesting. But I made a lot of cool improvements from the previous episode. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna proceed and do the map. So let's focus on that. Let me just take a look at this real quick. Perfect. So now, again, quick shout out again to my encourage you guys to visit my personal page, romanjustcodes.web.app, where you can find a lot of cool stuff in there. I do, again, I'll do a lot of blogging in Medium, so you can find the latest blogs in here. You can take a look at my portfolio, bunch of the apps that I've developed. Look, there's Torsi. You can download it for free. You can also even purchase some merchandise and whatnot. But please also follow me on Twitter, at @DRCoders. That's my handle. You can even watch my videos on YouTube, so you can subscribe. Please subscribe and like. Same thing on Twitch. You can subscribe, and then you can actually get notified when I'm dropping like the next video, or when I'm actually doing the next live streaming. So why don't we do that? Okay, let's proceed. So a lot of talking. Now let's get to the meat of the implementation. So I encourage you guys to visit my GitHub also, because in my GitHub page I have one repo where I created one similar project to this in dealing with a map. So if you go to, for example, like the simple map repo, it's pretty cool, because this one I show you how you can implement showing a Google map on an Angular PWA. So I'm going to be pretty much mimicking the functionality in this repo. You can take a look also on my GitHub repo on other things, adding, for example, like map polylines, like the little routes between 2 points. Also like a custom info window, as opposed to like that ugly looking info window that when you click on a pin on a map, like shows up. I'm doing like Firebase authentication, Google Places, like you type ahead, like type an address, and then it gives you like information about Google. So I've created like that, how you implement it using a PWA, and then, you know, how to customize and make it look even cooler than what you get out of the box. So there's a lot of cool things in my GitHub repo. So please start those, fork them, clone them, do whatever you want with them. Perfect. So let's start implementing the map in here. So one of the first things that you want to do is, of course, starting with the component that I'm using right now is this the same. I think I'm using this just map page component right here. So in the map page component, you're going to use, for example, like you're not even going to use like a library for the Google Maps control. No, you're going to use the core Google Maps API. And for that, of course, remember, you could do, Google Maps API. And then you can take a look. There's a lot of information to dissect in here in the Google Maps API, how to use it. I definitely love the documentation, the JavaScript Maps API. This is pretty much what I'm gonna be hitting. How you do like a hello world in there. How you can add pins and whatnot. That's pretty much what I'm tackling. But in this particular case, I'm kind of like speeding through that, like all the pain points, and just going straight for like the cool things that you want to do. Okay, perfect. So the first thing that I want to do in my project to actually support that is adding the typings for Google Maps, because once you download the library, once you actually import the library, you want to be able to have like a IntelliSense for those things related to the Google Maps API. So let me show you how that works. I'm gonna be just grabbing some of the code from my GitHub repo. And then, for example, like in the application, if you go to the application in the package.json, there is a typing here. There is a typings for the Google Maps. So types.Google Maps, you can import that. So I can even do in my project. I'll just collapse this guy. Let me cancel here. Where am I? I'm at the root. Perfect. And then I can just do npm install at types Google Maps. like that. And then what this gives you is the capability that when you import the maps JavaScript library and you just add a reference to the index.html, once you import it and then you start typing, you can then get some of the IntelliSense on the things that we're going to be doing, like maps, marker, and some of those things like that, Google Maps and stuff like that, like some of those things, latitude, longitude, some of those things. So now that we have that, I can even go to my package.json. You will see that that is there already. Let me see if it types Google Maps. There it is. Perfect. I can just get rid of that. The next thing that you need to do that you cannot forget, so that then that works and your application doesn't blow up. Actually, I can even start it right now, and then you can see it blow up. Let me what am I doing here? I don't think I did any changes here. I'll just cancel. I won't save. So the next thing that I would do is in the index.html, you can refer to the API that you're gonna bring here for this. Like, what is the endpoint? This is the guy that I'm gonna do. So how do you load the maps JavaScript API? You have to add this piece. Like, you do inline loading. So I can even copy this like script defer and then just add it to this script reference, and then you add it to the index.html of your page. So I already have it set up in my project. Again, in the you can go to my GitHub repo, and then you go to the PWA Angular simple map repo, and then I'll do it there. So for this, I'll just add it inside of the body at the end, and then I'll just paste it in there. It says like Google Maps API, but I'm gonna add my Google Maps API. You guys can don't attempt to copy paste it, because that's my API key. So that's it. I'm just gonna grab mine. I'll probably even just like do this and put my API so you guys don't copy it, even though I trust you guys. But hey, some people don't have the best intentions sometimes. So after I save that and then I put it in there, like I already have my key in there. Remember, this is the way that you do it. So in the index.html, drop the reference. Remember, first do the typings, do npm install types Google Maps, then you add the reference in the index.html. That's the second step. Then the third step is that you go to the place where you want to add the map. So in my particular case, is going to be in my app pages map page in the HTML. Then I'm going to drop, if you see, for example, like in my repo here, if you go to the source app map page, the only thing that you need to do is just this guy right here. So you just add a container. Let me just replace this right here. You add a container, you call it app page or whatever. I'm gonna call it map page. And then you just have like a div where you're gonna kind of like tack on the map. Like the Google Maps API needs a container so that it can grab onto and render itself in there. In this particular case, this will be like a div that'll probably take up the whole screen, the whole page, the whole screen in this particular, not the whole screen, the whole page, and just render there. That's exactly what it's going to do. So if I show you even the style, what it does. So the styles for that is just very simple. So it's going to be like, it's going to attach itself to the edges of the screen. So you say is the IDs map canvas. And then I made it position absolute. Of course, we're going to be, changing some of these things right here. Like the top will probably be like the top right here, like whatever that amounts to be. The height of the height of the header and the height of the, and the height of the tab container. So let me show you. So if this is 56 and this is roughly 78, so that's 120, and then 6 and 8 of 14. So you see, so it's roughly, I'm gonna do like 130, 134, something like that, right? Yeah, something like that. So I say, yeah, exactly. So something like that. I'll try like that, and then I'll tweak it. But for example, if you do that, if I'm gonna start saving. I'm gonna do like save all, and then let me see how it behaves. So for example, for now, you will be. Oh, actually, of course, I need to sorry about that. Perfect. Okay, so this is building right here. Let's take a look. Okay, compiled successfully. So now I can just refresh this guy. Of course, some things may blow up or like not show up properly. See, I say like, what did I say on this? Sorry about that. So I wanted to take advantage of the thing. So here, this is my map canvas, which I said was a top 134. So if I do, for example, like a background red, yeah, like that. Okay, so I did not account for that correctly. So let me just, if I shrink it until I was like probably about there. Oh, so it was just that. Okay, so I didn't, why did I, okay, that's kind of weird. Oh, I see, of course, because it just takes advantage of just the top piece. From here down, it's absolute. Remember, guys, under the, of course, look, check this out. So this is pretty much absolute to the parent because this guy is my top. You see, the top is 56. I did not account for that. I should have deducted 56 and just say, okay, so it's just, you know, the height of this container right here, whatever this is, which is 78 pretty much. So because it thinks like that is the top. It doesn't even take like the map container. It's just like, oh no, my parent is the map page, is the app page pretty much. So he says like the top is 56, you know, like there, like doesn't account for those 56 pixels above. So my bad, I forgot, I didn't take account of that. But 134 would have been the correct one if that wasn't there, so that's fine. So now I will be rendering my map in there. So I'll just fix this value right here, and then other than that, I should be good. So I'll do like a top 78, just keep it like that. Now let's continue. So how do I make it so that now my map renders in there and like nothing else like blows up in here? So far so good. Now what's the next thing that I want to do? I already have my library. I already have the map reference. Now let's go to the code. So now in the backend, in the TypeScript, is where then I'm gonna add a few pieces in there. So I'll go to the map page. I'll add, of course, the usual encapsulation view encapsulation.none, so I can, you know, do, you know, a lot of things with my styles. And then one of the things that you need to do is add a reference to the map. Remember the typings? This is what I wanted it for. I can type google.maps.map. You see, I can do this now. Oh, okay, so perfect. And then I say, okay, map. I can do this, of course, so that is that. So you see, like I wanted to do Google, see, it finds it, and then maps, and then I can find maps. This comes from the typings. Thanks to the typings, then I can use like a little bit of intelligence in there. I need also, of course, to like the center. I need to grab the center of the map, like kind of have a reference to that. So I'm gonna use the same Google maps.lat long literal. That's another thing also provided by the Google typings. And then the same thing, I'm just gonna use this so I can say, okay, now I'm gonna grab a hold of that. And the options, of course, you need to pass options to the map when you create it. So how do you pass the options? You just create an object of google.maps.map options. That's another one, you see. And then in maps options is just an object that you can just do and pass a bunch of options in here. What are the options that I'm concerned about for now? For example, the map type ID. So for example, I want to create a map, a google.maps.map type ID, and then I want to do like the road map. I don't want to do terrain. I don't want to do hybrid. I want to do road map because I want to actually show like the road. Another one is, for example, like disable default UI. I also say true because I want to provide my own UI pieces. I don't want like the little like the compass or the little maximize or whatever, like the expanding. No, I don't want anything. Just give me the raw map. I'll handle the rest myself. Scroll wheel. I usually say false. I can keep it in there. Okay, I'll just say scroll wheel true. But it by default is true. I'm just gonna show you why later. And then I also do like disable double click zoom. Like I don't want to do double clicking and then it zooms because I'm gonna be clicking on the map, and then if people clicks, I don't want to be like zooming in and whatnot. So I'm just gonna say false on the disable. I'm sorry, true to say disable the double clicking on zoom. The initial zoom of the map also, I might want to do something so that it looks like this. I like a little bit of the map, not too much, but I don't want to go all the way into the terrain. Remember, I think the 0 is like the world view, and then the higher the zoom is like much closer to the street. So for example, we could do like a zoom of like 10. If you do 0, that's like you're like at the like in the International Space Station probably. But if you do just zoom 0, that's what it is. So I'll do, for example, like a 10, and let's take a look. Now, after you do that, then the first thing that you want to do is, for example, like create the map. So how do you do that? You do it in the ng on init, Right now, I'm not gonna grab the center, or the center will probably be like a hard-coded value that I put or something. For now, let's do this. Like, I'll just do, let's actually go to Google, and then I'll do like Dominican Republic. And then of course I want to take a look at the map and whatnot, see it like this. So why don't we just grab like a center point in there, and then if I say, for example, directions to something, or I can just go like this and like drop like a point in the center of the map. Well, this is not what I wanted to do. I just wanted to like click somewhere in there, and then I'll get like that location. If I click, let's say, here in the center of the island, you see I already get like a lat and a long. So why don't we grab that lat and long values from here, and I'm gonna keep that in there, and then this is what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna say this is a center equals, and then my lat will be, of course, the first value, and my long will be the next value. So I'll hold these two values, and then I do LNG for that, and there you go. So first I have my center. So as soon as I load the map, it will be in the center of the island. I wanna grab that as the reference, right? And then after that, what you need to do is then initialize the map using then the ID that you have in your page, and then the map API, the maps API will just grab it and tack onto that, render the map in there. So this is how you do it. This .map, and then you assign it a new Google.maps map. And then you find the component. You can even do like with core JavaScript, you could say document.getElementById, and then the ID, remember, was called map canvas. If you come over here, and in the markup it says map canvas. So now let's continue. If you do map canvas, and then the next parameter is just the option. So you pass like an options object, but you pass like a bunch of things in there. So you can even decompose and deconstruct the object, this.options, and then pass, for example, like the center also, and then you do this.center. So you see, so far so good. I'm saying a document.getElementById, and you pass the canvas object. Okay, let me see. It's not available to type. No, it's not available to enable. Okay, I mean, it should be able to find it. So let me save all. And then let's take a look again at the torsi, and there you go. See, like, you may not even care about this, but for example, you can even try like assign it to something, but you see, like, it found it and then just rendered it. The zoom value is just the thing that I want to increase a little more. So let's do like 16, and then if I save that, we're just zooming out. Actually, I'm sorry, it should be smaller. Sorry, I'm probably like all the way in. Let's do like I did a 10, so let's do like an 8. I want to see like a little bit more of the map. That's exactly what I want. So perfect. This is good. So you see, we can probably take a look at that later. But you see, like, it's still building. It's all fine, and they just show. So you see, very quick, with this amount of code, this little amount of code in the markup, this little amount of code in the backend, just adding in my index.html just adding this reference and installing like the npm install types Google Maps, then you should be good. And there you go, like, you can just see the map in there. One of the things that I noticed is that the like this thing, okay, so maybe the header should be maybe located a little bit higher than the map. So because I didn't see like the shadow on that. And then, for example, like in here in the navigation, that's my navigation, you see, like, I did that's the main page, that's the tab navigation. Yeah, I think, well, how high did I make the header? So the header, I said it was position index 3, so that's okay. The tab navigation, I can say position that relative, and then see index equals 2, and there you go. You see now the map, because it's like index 1, you know, like it just positions itself in there. Then now it's like a little bit below that page. That's exactly what I wanted. Now if I click on these guys, you see still everything good, and then the map just shows the way we're. Let's just make this quick little change in here, because I wanted to see that shadow over the map page. Again, just cosmetic, but you know how I am, so I'll do that tab, that navigation, and then you go, my styles will just go right here. I'll just paste it in there, save it again. Let's see, you see it'll just like loads right away. Perfect. Now how do I start adding like pins in my application? So I can start like just looping through. Actually, let me just show you the services. So if I look at the services, if I look like for example, like get top attractions, If you notice, I'm gonna just zoom in here. Maybe you guys are not seeing, but every attraction has a location with a lat and the long. I already foresaw that, and then I'm like, okay, every location I kind of want to like add it to the map or whatever. So let me add the location right there as well, so I can just consume it right away. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to loop through all the locations, or I'm just going to grab one of those guys, and then I'm just going to flip through the locations, loop through all of them, grab the location, and place a pin in the map, and then that's it. So why don't we do that? So let's take a look at that, and remember, because I'm using the observables and whatnot, let's just get them all. So there is an API call. Again, I'll take a look at that in a minute. Because why is it doing that? It should be able to find it. I could probably even like create it into a variable or something. So he says null is not assignable to type element. Anyway, so why don't we do this? Let's okay, let's save. See, still like even if you look at the, oh, there you go. So that's exactly why. Okay, perfect. Okay, so it's saying that also because you need actually the typings. This was what I wanted to tell you a little bit earlier. So in order to get rid of this, like it doesn't find a namespace. It's saying that it cannot find a namespace Google, even though you saw it working. So this is the trick. I even have it here in my repo. The way that you fix that, if you go to the app, actually to the source, you have to add a index, like a index file that just declares the module Google Maps. You tell it this to to the compiler so that it knows that, oh, I already have something called Google Maps. Please include it because this is not something that like is part of the whole module of the whole application. I'll declare a module called Google Maps, even though there's no library. Well, the library is dynamic because it comes in there, but the typings is what facilitates that. But here, by you saying that, you're saying, please regard this as a legit module in the application once you do the building. So all I have to do is in the application, in the source, like at the root of the source, here I'll just have to say new file and do index.d.ts, because every module, like declaration of a module, needs like an index.d.ts. And then all I have to do here is just say, I'm sorry about that. So I just need to say declare module. So if I do this and say declare module Google Maps, that's all you need. Let's save. Let's actually kill it. Let's rebuild. And then now we shouldn't have that error coming up in here. As far as I'm concerned, you shouldn't be able to get it. This thing is still like a little wacky, but you saw it working. It finds the component, it finds the element, and then he does that. See, it still says cannot find the name Google. It's a little weird. It should this should do it. So let's take a look again. So I added it to the, let me make sure, it's just here in the source. So it's at index.d.ts. Let me see, was there like another, I don't think there was another spot where I needed to add that. But you see, like it says, it doesn't find the namespace Google. That's, again, that, but this is just, at least you're able to see it, which is what I care about. There you go. Even though it says complete that successfully, then it gives you that. Okay, we can take a look. We can definitely take a look at that. Still says it cannot find the name Google, but it should be able to. If you go in my repo, like you won't get that issue. I'll take a look at what was the other piece that we were missing in there. If I go to my map.component, oh, of course, you need to then now give it like a fake object so that you can, it's like a fake module for Google Maps. So this is like a trick that you implement. There's a bunch of tutorials on how to do this, but here I'm in my repo, I'm already doing that, and then you don't have to like go through all the hassle. You just have to copy all that information, and then you should be good. So you saw is adding that, and then now when it builds, it should be able, okay, now it says, now it's giving me that issue about the null. Perfect. So now I can even then, I'll probably have to create this separately and then pass it in or whatnot. Let me see if I can create it like outside here. They say, let HTML map, let's say map ref, and then I do this, and then I can do like map ref. Let me see what it does. Still, okay, I have to make it maybe type HTML element. Sorry. What if I do the new HTML element? and then I do, God, seriously? Okay, perfect. So there you go. Oh, and then can I cast it like to an HTML element? Because this is pretty much what I'm doing. I know that I'm doing this, and then I'm saying just, you know, give me my element. For now, I'm just gonna keep it like that. You know, you're already getting it. I'll fix that later, because this is a little wacky. And of course, because I opted into having like stronger typing, of course I'm maybe violating that piece there, but trust me, you know, this is working. So let's skip that part. Perfect. Okay, so now after I've added the map, now what do we do? You see, like I can do that. I can do zooming in. Perfect. I can double click and there's no zooming in and all of that. So I'm good. So now let's try to add, see, that's what I don't want, like those little you know, pop-ups in there, like the little custom windows. I don't like those. So why don't we start laying down some pins in there? Why don't we do that? So where are we gonna get those pins? Remember, we're gonna get it from the existing locations that we have. What if, and again, in my services, I already created like some endpoints and some APIs in here, some APIs pretty much, that just fetch me all the locations. So like get all locations combined, it just gives it to me as an array. Every single attraction. Like I just get it. And because it's a finite number, it's probably like about like 100, that's not many. I'll just get it once, I grab the lat and the long, and then I'll just start dropping those pins in there. So why don't we do that? In my repo also, I show you exactly how you add like markers into it, but let's just go with the default marker. I kind of like to do like custom markers. I'll show you now where we're gonna get those custom markers. Actually, why not show you now? This is where I'm gonna grab my custom marker. So this is for when the pin is selected. This is when a pin is not selected. Like this is just the default. So why don't we just grab it here? So immediately I'll just select this guy. I'll rename this like icon map pin.svg. Let me see. I think I may have it already in the map. I can't tell you. So if I go to my documents and then I go to Torsi web, and then let me see. Actually, let me find where I have my assets in here, and then I have my icons. I think I have that guy. This is map view. Oh no, the map view, but that's not. There you go. So all I have to do is come over here, reveal it in Finder, and then I'm just gonna drop it in there. So let me just drop my icon in there. So I'll do export, selected. I go to the Torsi web app. It's in my documents. I dropped it in there, and then I go to the assets, icons, and then in the icon I'll do the icon map pin. I make sure that it's not that is SVG, because I want to keep it like a very high quality. And then if I export it, there you go. That's the map pin right there. I don't need that. Now let's start dropping those pins. So in the map page, then in the ng on init, I say, okay, so now why don't I just import the proxy service? That's where I'm gonna get all my locations. So I'm gonna say private proxy service, and then that's it. Now all I have to do is just say, okay, let's say right away I'll just say let all locations equals this.proxy service get all attractions combined. So this will give me all locations, all attractions. All the attractions have the lat and the long, and then let's see what we get. So after that, why don't we just debug it and then let's take a look. So that it just doesn't bomb in front of all of you guys. So if I show my developer tools, I go to my sources. Let's go to that map page and then just debug that piece, and then let's make sure that we do get all the locations. How we're gonna parse them. That's what we want to do now. So in the map page, put it right here. Let's do it again. If I refresh, boom. If I do this, get all locations. Okay, still doesn't get it yet. Because of course I need to actually subscribe to that, and that is when I get it. So it gets created. I need to subscribe to that, or I can just even let's start with because I need to make one improvement on that piece. Let's just get one of these like one of these observables, the behavior subjects as an observable. Let's get like the top attractions, for example, for now. So I'll just get that. I'll subscribe to it once they've arrived. Remember, because we're still making the call to the API, it still hasn't arrived, so we haven't gotten notified, like that. So let's just do that. So I'll do, let me just go back to the map page. Instead of doing this, I'll actually do this. I'll say this, and I'll handle it appropriately, but for now I'll do this proxy get top attractions, and then this dot I'll just say dot subscribe. For example, like in this particular case, I'll say dot subscribe. Let me say top attractions. And then here is where I'm gonna then loop through them. I'll take a look, you know, how many attractions I'm getting and whatnot. You know, let attractions equals top attractions. I just want to stop it in here and then hold on to that piece. So, you know, like put a breakpoint somewhere. So this may not work anymore. So if I just refresh that, let it go. Oh, sorry about that. So this is where my this ends, my subscription. Okay, sorry about that. There we go. I think I did one more extra, that's it. So let's save it again, refresh, put a breakpoint. I'm just gonna wait for the data to arrive, and boom, it arrives. Top attractions, empty, interesting. Now I get it. So let's say, oh, when attractions have arrived, let's make sure that we do get it when we get it. And then you see, like all these attractions have a location object with a lat and a long. That's all we're gonna do. Loop through all these locations, get the lat and the long, and then just show it. So nothing yet, of course, because I haven't tapped into that. So now after I do this, all I'm gonna say is, okay, so check that the attractions, the top attractions, you know, at least the length equals, you know, is greater than 0. So if top attractions, I could even do like n top attractions that length greater than 0, then I'm gonna parse that. So let me just hide this guy. So okay, I know that I've had some locations. It is greater than 0, so now let's get it. So the way to do the marker is very simple. So all you have to do is say like let marker equals new google.maps.marker. Sorry, marker. And then the marker takes an object. So you instantiate a marker by saying new.google.maps.marker, and then the marker takes a whole object. So the object, you can pass a few things in there. First of all, the position. And remember, the position needs a lat and a long. I think I may have like spell it differently in my service. I'm calling it, oh, I think I am calling it LNG. Even better. Okay, so I maybe even have foresaw that, and then I called it exactly the way it is. So hooray for me. Thank you. Okay, so now the position is just that. So I just go for I just loop through these positions. So I'm just actually gonna say top attractions dot for each, and then through each attraction, I'm gonna loop through that, right? And then I'm just gonna create that marker and tack on the position right away. So so the position will be again attraction dot, I call it location, and that location object, if you see, it has a lat and an LNG, which is the longitude. So cool, I don't have to do anything else or any mapping. So after I do the location, then the next thing you need to do is add the icon. So the way to do the icon is just say icon colon, and then the icon takes a few things. The URL, which is the path to where the icon is located. In our particular case, it's in in assets. Where did I put it again? Icon, assets, icons, and then okay, assets, icons, icon map underscore pin.svg. There you go. So see, after I say the anchor. I kind of maybe tweak it a little bit. I can like change it. The anchor property in the icon, the anchor property is like a point. You can just adjust depending on the height of your pin. For example, here you can say like new google.maps.point, and then point is like a location in the map that you can actually use like an X and Y coordinate, and you can just pass it. Here, for example, if I do 3510, that means from the place of the actual location, you can even say from that, this like, imagine that being 0, 0. Like the actual geographical location of the pin is 0, 0. And then if you do 35x, that's 35 on the x, 35 on the x, 10 on the y. Like that. And then it's like 35, 10. Like you can just bring it down a little bit. Like that. And then you can even do scaled size. Like if maybe your pin is a little too big and then you want to adjust it, you can do scale size. And then scale size, you say new google.maps.size. That's another property of that. And then you could do like make it truly 100 pixels by 100 pixels. So how do we try that? After you do this, see your marker is like floating, but no, you want to attach it to where? The map. After you create the marker with the position, all you have to say is like map. What's the map? This dot map. Like you've already created it at the top. Now you loop through all your attractions. You tag all the pins, and then now you do that. So now if you save that, let's take a look. I'll just remove this breakpoint and let's take a look. And boom, there you are. Awesome. I hadn't even tried it before. This is my first time trying it, and then there you go. All the pins are positioned, you know, where they're supposed to. Of course, I need to make some adjustments, but you saw that like one was like floating somewhere, like that, because they're too big. Like right now they're too big. Maybe we can adjust like the scaling. I said the point, maybe we may not need the point. Let's take a look at the anchor. If I just comment that out, and then let's take a look. Maybe they should go a little bit up. There we go. This is more like it. I think I would, the anchor, I don't need it. I don't need the anchor at all, but I can definitely change the scale. I can probably make it smaller. Let's try like 50. Now let's take a look. Perfect. This is much cooler. And then you go see, I have custom pins. If you, let's say, click on one of those pins, nothing happens because I haven't done that yet. But when I tap on a pin, just like we have in our design, we're going to be swapping it for this guy. So, okay, I click on a pin. That's the pin. I'm going to swap like the URL of that image because I want to make it like, oh, this is the currently selected pin, right? So that's it. You take a look. You see that? Perfect. Like that's exactly what I want to do. If I click on the other guys, you see, perfect. I can like, well, I can't log out, not yet because we haven't implemented that. But there you go. Let's go through the workflow again. You can go through the top rated, high region, by region, by activity. When you click on your map view, there you are. And then you can see that like your map shows, you can zoom in, zoom out, you get all the custom pins, and that's it. Each one of these locations, of course, will be associated with one of the locations from the map, from the like one of the attractions. And then we need to do like some handling. When you click on that, you have to be in context. Maybe we need to add more information to the pin. Probably maybe add like the ID of that location, like some sort of like additional metadata like to this, right? Like if the marker could have again like a position, something that you can like more metadata that you can you can tag on, for example, like an ID, right? Something like that, like add like more metadata to that. But for now, I think we should be good. So in the next episode, I think that's what I'm gonna do. In the next episode, we're gonna do is implement like the clicking on each one of these pins. We're gonna be doing this pretty much. Let me show you. So we're gonna be doing adding when you click on one of these pins on the map, you're gonna get like this custom window. And then when you click on that, you're actually gonna be able then to navigate to that particular page. So at least for now, I wanted just to cover just showing the map. We can definitely go deeper into the map, but you saw how simple it was. I just wanted to leave in a quick win, showing you how quick it is, how simple it is to implement the map on a on an Angular PWA, implementing the Google Maps, pulling the Google Maps API. You don't have to install any additional components other than the typings, like the types Google Maps. You import the map. Let me just recap again. So very simple. Of course, I'll handle that later. But you see in the map component, all you have to have is like a component, like an HTML element that just the Google Maps API will find and tag on and render the map in it. You add some styles, of course, so that it can take up the whole page, and then it behaves responsibly. In your, of course, in your index.html, you can add just the script that refers to the Google Maps API. Remember, this is in the Google Maps API page. You can just say loading the Maps API, and then you just grab this. All you have to do is just add your personal Google API. For example, for my case, you will have to actually go to the Google Cloud Console, and then you can manage like your API in there. That's where you set all your APIs. and all that, you have to be careful because depending on how many calls you make to the Google Maps API, you may get charged for that. But if I go to my Google Cloud Console, this is where I manage like all my APIs. If you go here to API, go APIs overview, you can take a look that I'm using the Google Cloud Functions. I'm using a bunch of things. And then if I scroll down and then you see, for example, this particular case not, but for example, if I go to maybe some of the other ones that I'm using, there you go. So my Maps API, Places API, Directions API, I'm gonna use those in subsequent videos and other projects. But at least you can manage here how many calls you'll be making, what's your latency, if you're getting errors, what's the traffic, like if anybody's tapping into that, because this costs money. But let's say when you're starting your project and you're just testing it and whatnot, you don't get charged for that. That's very minimal. If you ever get charged, but no, you haven't gotten charged so far yet because my calls are very low, and then I'm just like testing my applications and whatnot. I am in other side projects that I'm building. I'm creating that, and then for that I'm actually paying. So that's all I wanted to show you. Please, again, you can review this video and take a look all the things that I did to get this working. It wasn't that many. You can get, again, I in very minimal amount of code, I showed you how to instantiate the map, create the map, adding some options, pinpointing the center of the map so that your map now zooms in there right away. You can even have like the zoom level. How to instantiate the map by finding that element in your markup and then tag, and then the Google Maps can grab it and render. How you can add, for example, your markers, how you add custom markers. In my particular case, I was in the advantage because I already had my locations, but in your particular case, you're gonna have to find an API that has those locations already pre-created and created specifically for these type of APIs that you just shove it in and you're done. In the next video, I will be adding clicking capabilities on those pins. I'll be adding the custom info window, and then probably if we get more time, then when you click on that, on maybe in that custom info window from below, then we can take you to the details page of that attraction. So that's it, guys. I definitely had a lot of fun. This is one of my favorite topics, creating maps in the Google Maps API, using in Angular PWAs, using it in web apps, tapping into that functionality. We can go deeper into the Google's API functionality in later videos, but for now, I just wanted to leave it up to here so that you see how easy it is to implement Google Maps API, how to implement the Google Maps on your Angular PWAs, the easy, fastest way. So again, don't forget to subscribe to my channels, to both Twitch and YouTube, where I'll be continuing streaming these type of sessions where you see me live coding, and then I implement these things right in front of you to show you that there's no tricks, there's no magic or nothing. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter. My handle is @DRCoders. Make sure that you go and visit my portfolio, romanjustcodes.web.app. Hey, do you want me to talk at your next meetup, at your next developer event? Please find me on Calendly. Actually, here in my, if you take a look at my romanjustcodes.web.app, and if you go to the contact section, if you go here and you go to contact, you can find my availability through Calendly, and then you can even find like which day it would be good for me to maybe do a call with you. So why don't we do that? I'll do it for free. I don't do any like physical like meetups or talks right now because of course of the pandemic, but I already dated this video anyway. So yes, so make sure that you reach out to me, whether in my email or via Calendly, or send me an email, reach out to me via LinkedIn, through my Twitter, and then we can do something, and then I can even show your community how easy it is to implement, how cool it is to implement Angular PWAs, implementing Google Maps, Firebase authentication, all Firebase technologies, a lot of the Google technologies, because I definitely love sharing my knowledge with everybody. I do it for free because I love sharing. That's my thing. So again, don't forget to do that, and just make sure that you're here tuning in for the next episode. If this is your first time, I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have already seen my previous videos, I hope you like this one as well. Please keep coming and continuing watching these videos. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Roman. This is Roman Just Codes, live coding after hours. See you on the next one.